This is going to be fun. What's up, guys? It is Rob, and if you can't already tell by the title, I'm going to be ranking a franchise, the Resident Evil movies. Kind of a response to Chucky Doll. He ranked his worst to best. And those of you who know me know that I'm not fond of this franchise. In fact, I am a huge Resident Evil fan, and I thought that these movies didn't represent what Resident Evil's about. There's nothing wrong with coming up with your own story, but I felt like this was just a ridiculous attempt to kind of, I don't want to say cash grab the gaming franchise or turn the gaming franchise into live action by just shoehorning characters in there with no backstory. You could say that, well, the backstory was in the games. Well, not really. With a movie, it's different. You want to have a story. You want to have characters that you can relate to. Even if, let's say they were set up in the games, you can come up with your own stories with Chris Redfield, Jill Valentine, Rebecca Chambers, Albert Wesker. You can come up with your own stories and still make it good. This is not those type of films. This is just all about fan service, all about putting those characters in there, letting them go. And, it's all about Alice, a character that I have no interest in at all. But anyway, there are a couple films that I can watch out of the franchise. Other than that, I just think they're garbage. I did see they're remaking the movies, and from what I've seen, the pics are okay, but I just want to see a trailer, and I think the cast could be better. But we'll see. We'll see how it turns out. I don't think it can get any worse, but I'll tell you a Resident Evil film that I really enjoyed, okay? Resident Evil Vendetta. It's a original CG motion picture with Rebecca Chambers. You got Chris Redfield and Leon Kennedy in one film. It is gory, bloody, action-packed. The action in this makes all these Resident Evil films look bad. And this is CG. So just think about that a little bit. If you haven't seen Vendetta, check it out. But you're talking to a huge Resident Evil fan. I mean, on the PlayStation 4, I own Resident Evil 0, Resident Evil, the first game remake that came out on the GameCube first, Resident Evil 2, the remake, Resident Evil 3, the remake, Resident Evil 4, Resident Evil 5, where they're in Africa, Resident Evil 6, Resident Evil 7, Biohazard, Resident Evil Code Veronica. I own all those games on my PS4. It's one of my favorite franchises. If it wasn't, I wouldn't have all those on there. So I'm a huge fan. When it comes to the franchise, like I said, I'm not. I'm not a huge fan at all. But whatever. I'm going to rank them. Just my personal list, just my opinion. I'm neither right or wrong. My list is probably going to be different from almost everyone else's because you'll probably be shocked at what I have in my number one spot. But yeah, I got this set at Goodwill for $1.99. That includes all the first 5 movies on Blu-ray. And then I found the 6th film at Goodwill for let's see, this was 99 cents on DVD. But, I thought, why not? I have all 6 of them now. So, yeah. So let's get started with the ranking. Nothing special here. Just going to list them the way I see fit. Starting with number 6. I'm going to go worst to best. So the worst for me is the final chapter. I thought the twist at the end was ridiculous. The fact that it was always in one spot the whole time, no one ever knew about it, and that was the major outcome. That was it. That brought all the pieces together. But in fact, what it did was it left everything with more questions than answers for me, anyway. And the action in this is ridiculous. You cannot, honestly, you cannot tell me that when it comes to like like the final film, like you cannot tell me that people are not trying to make things better than the previous films, because it doesn't seem like that in this movie. It seems like they made it worse on purpose. I don't know, because the action is just it's bad. It's really bad. Um, and Alice, what is it with Alice? I understand Mila Jovovich and Paul Anderson are together, just like Rob Zombie put Sherry Moon Zombie in every one of his films. I understand it. But that's a stupid way to, you know, I want to say treat the fans that really want fan service, that really want a good Resident Evil story, maybe based on the games. But you don't need to put this character, Alice, in these movies and make her a god. Because that's in every movie she discovers something that she didn't have before, something that she couldn't do before. Like, who cares about zombies anymore? Who cares about the hunters and the lickers? You know, who cares about that stuff? Here we have Alice, who can just kick everyone's ass. That's all we have. Anyway, this one is terrible. It is bad, and I knew it when I first saw the trailer to this. I was just like, thank God it's ending. Thank God. Coming in at number 5 for me is Resident Evil Afterlife. There were a couple of things that I did like about this. For instance, how they added the axe guy. The big, huge guy with the huge axe, which was in Resident Evil 5 when Chris Redfield was in Africa. I like how they added him, but here's the thing. They just added him in there for fan service. There's no reason for him to be there in that city, you know? But whatever. They just added him because people thought it'd look cool. And it did. It looked cool. I'm admitting that. But still, I mean, they're just putting stuff in there. Just, you got the guy who played Chris Redfield. I thought he was okay. He was kind of bland in sometimes. But again, Chris Redfield, it's not like Chris Redfield is not a main character of the franchise. Chris Redfield was there from the beginning. And here we have him like locked up in this prison thing, this cage. I do like some of the zombies that have that right there. You can see how he opens his mouth and it kind of expands like this. It reminds me of Resident Evil 4 with the Las Plagas. That was kind of a nice touch. I did like that, and I just thought it was ridiculous though. Like when you kill a bad guy, like coins fall out, and that's what Alice uses to like make her bullets. Like she collects coins. It's like, why would the enemy? Why would this isn't? I understand they're trying to pay homage to the video game because you can get like, especially like like Resident Evil 4, when you kill an enemy, gold drops from them, so you collect the gold. Why did that happen here? Why are bad guys carrying gold with them? I don't understand that. I mean, if you're a zombie, I guess if you died, you had change in your pocket. That's one thing, but this is I don't know. It's maybe I'm looking too much into it. I don't know. That's just stuff that I noticed, but the whole cloning thing I didn't care for. And Albert Wesker was stupid in this movie. He just looks so fake. I'm like, am I watching like a PG? He just looked like his makeup and his hair just looks so fake. Like he just got out of wardrobe. I just don't understand. Um, yeah, this movie with all the slow motion stuff too, it just was ugh, whatever. Coming in at number 4 is Retribution. Now, here's the thing about this movie. I love the very first part of this, the beginning. I thought the beginning kind of reminded me a little bit of like Dawn of the Dead a little bit. But again, fan service in this whole movie. Let's see. You got, Michelle Rodriguez from the first movie. You got Ada Wong. She's a main character. She shows up in Resident Evil 2. Barry Burton. Barry Burton was there from the beginning. He was in the very first Resident Evil with Chris Redfield. You got Leon Kennedy. And, of course, Alice. You got all these characters in this. And the way they treat the characters in this movie is ridiculous. Like, come on. The way they treat Barry Burton, I love Barry Burton. He's like one of my favorite characters. Resident Evil Revelations 2. Oh, that's another game I own. I didn't mention that on PlayStation 4. I own Resident Evil Revelations with Jill Valentine. Revelations 2 stars Barry Burton. And Barry was such a cool character. But he's useless in this movie. Pretty much all of them are useless. And I don't like Leon Kennedy. Leon Kennedy is supposed to be a badass. Nope, not here. The only badass in this is her. That's it. Coming in number 3, Resident Evil Apocalypse. I know this is probably number 1 on a lot of people's lists, and I can understand it because it's more close to the video game than any other movie in the franchise. But for me, it was a little bit too much like the video game. And what I mean is, everything was so campy and cheesy that I'd rather just play the video game, because the video game seemed like it was darker and grittier. Nemesis was fine. It was a guy in a suit. I really did appreciate that. I appreciated that rather than him be CGI. But again, it's all about Alice, kicking ass. That's basically what it is. But you got Jill Valentine, and I thought she was annoying as hell. Her acting was terrible in this movie. And what this was is kind of like a mixture between Resident Evil 2 and 3, because Nemesis, Jill kind of dressed like she did in Resident Evil 3 Nemesis. The action scenes were fine. The zombies actually looked pretty good. But then you had like zombies like coming out of the graves. Like, I didn't understand that. Like, the virus is loose. If the virus is airborne, it wouldn't affect the people buried underground. It wouldn't affect dead bodies that are buried underground in caskets. It wouldn't. I don't know. Whatever. It's not bad. It's really not bad. That's why it's ranked number 3 for me. But yeah, it is closest to the game. I just think they went a little bit too far. It's not to the extent of Mortal Kombat Annihilation, which went too far with the game stuff. But I want to say it was a good attempt. So number 2 for me is the first Resident Evil. There's a lot more things that I like than dislike in this film, but still, when you think about it, it's just there's nothing that really happens. They go down into this hive to see if there's any survivors. The zombies come out. They have to try to escape the hive, and that's it. There's really no main villain except for the liquor thing that changes. There's no tyrant. There's nothing like that. That's why, for me, it just fell flat. I mean, I was expecting more with the mansion. I was expecting more with the zombies. I was expecting more with different things, solving puzzles or something to get out of a room. One of my favorite parts of this movie is when they go in that hallway and there's the security lasers that come by and like they chop you in half. And that was probably my favorite part. That was an awesome scene, and I really, really loved it. That's why when I get to my number 1, I'll explain that again there. But yeah, Resident Evil, the first one, it was disappointing, but I do like a lot more things than I dislike, and I do like the music by Marilyn Manson as well. Number 1 for me is a surprise to most people, Extinction. This one kind of this one was directed. This one had a different director. It was Russell Mulcahy, I guess that's how you say it. Paul W. Anderson actually produced and he wrote this film. But I think that's why, the thing is, it reminds me of like a Mad Max setting, but I like the grittiness to it. I like it's a darker film. The zombies look different. They look darker. They look scarier. I like the characters. The doctor, the bad doctor, and I like how they go to like Las Vegas and it's covered in sand, because I've been to Vegas, and it's like it's really cool to see that. And Lyndon Ashby is in this movie from Mortal Kombat. Johnny Cage himself. I'm like, hell yes, that's awesome. Even though his character really didn't do much. What's her name? Ali Larter plays Claire Redfield, and I really like Claire. I think Allie Larder is a good Claire. I really do think she is. But again, it's focused on Alice. Alice has these powers that she discovers. She's really, really powerful in this one. And at the it was the third act of the film, you get to go back down in that chamber again with the lasers, but she's fighting Tyrant. And it's a version of Tyrant. But I thought that was cool, and it was actual. It was not CG. It was actually a guy with the makeup and all that stuff. Really, really cool looking, and I wish they would have done that. In the first movie, I wish they would have done something with the Tyrant. Mr. X would be cool. But anyway, I think this was um, a really good one. I would watch this more than I would watch the other ones. And yeah, that's just my opinion. I just enjoy this one a lot. It just felt different. It felt different from the others. I thought the acting was much better than the previous films. Um, so anyway, yeah, that's my favorite, Resident Evil Extinction. So again, just my opinion. Like I said, if you want to know my favorite Resident Evil movie, it is Resident Evil Vendetta, hands down. This beats out all of the movies. So that's my ranking. Hope you guys enjoyed it. If you didn't, sorry. Move on to another channel. Can't please everybody, and I'm not going to try. So yeah, I'll be back with more videos coming up soon, and yeah, see you in the next one.